Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. This video, as the title says, is about the things that I love about a 6.5. These are the things that I love about the 6.5 trucks. It's not about the OBS body style. It's not about 3/4 tons or half tons. It's not about mine being a Suburban. It's just about the motor themselves and what I like about them. I also did make a video of the 5 things that I don't like about the 6.5s. So if you're interested in seeing that, it should be right on my channel. I will probably put it in this video on the top right-hand corner, so you can click on that as well. But we're just gonna get into it. The first thing I'm gonna pick is fuel mileage. So this is a 3/4 ton Suburban, and it's a 96, and it does have some aftermarket things on it. It's got a different turbo on it and pretty much just exhaust, and that's really about it. It's not tuned or anything. It's got stock injectors. Everything's obviously stock on the block. And I mean, I haven't fully marked it yet and tried to do the math. I'm kind of working on that right now, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting about 25 miles to the gallon in this thing. It's got a 42-gallon tank, I believe, and I filled it up the other day, and from empty to full, it is like $140. But I filled this truck up last Tuesday, and it is Monday currently, and I'm still on full. So I have been driving all week, and it's not even below full yet. It's still completely full. So the fuel mileage is ridiculous on these for just being a truck in general, and on top of the fact that the thing's 25 years old and it's a 3/4 ton and it's a Suburban. That's just really impressive to me. I know the gas Suburbans from that era, I think, got 15 miles to the gallon if you were good. So between 20 and 30 is pretty damn good in my opinion for a 25-year-old truck. The next thing I'm going to go over is reliability. That's one of the biggest factors, especially for me, as I just wanted a truck that's reliable. So I heard a lot of bad stuff about 6.5s before, so I was pretty hesitant, but after I got one and now I've been driving it, it is a really reliable truck. I think it's a mixture of they don't really make enough power to hurt themselves, and it's just such a simple concept. Like, it's basically just a 350 with a turbo on it. Trucks were just built different back in the day. This thing's been really reliable for me. Everything I have done on it, I just wanted to fix before something happened, or if I had little issues. Everything's just cheap. It's cheap and really easy to fix. I'm gonna try to not mix these two together because this is kind of two separate things, but extremely reliable truck, never lets me down. It just does what it's supposed to, and it does what it's supposed to good. Doesn't really do any more than it's asked, but it does what it needs to do, and that's really all I can say. Is just it's reliable and it hasn't let me down, and I'm pretty confident everywhere I go with it. I mean, I would go halfway across the country right now without any worries. The next one was kind of mixed with reliability. That's why I was trying to separate them, but easy and cheap. The truck it usually never needs anything, and if it does need something, it's all really stupid cheap, and it's extremely easy to do. The glow plugs took me 40 minutes to do all 8, and I had the option between getting all 8 glow plugs for $12 or getting all 8 for $50, and they were considered good. They were like better than factory, so I got the $50 ones. Injectors would basically be like a Sunday afternoon job. All 8 injectors for the truck are like $200 to $300. I put 2 batteries in it so far. I threw an alternator in. The alternator was $100 brand new, and it took me 20-25 minutes maybe. Pretty much everything on it's $100 or cheaper, and everything on it can be done in under an hour for the most part. Wicked easy, wicked cheap trucks, which is honestly what I was going for a truck. I wanted something reliable, like a tow, not give me a ton of issues, and if something went wrong, I could just do it real quick in the driveway without spending $1,000. The next thing I'm gonna go with is sound. I absolutely, for some reason, love the sound of the 6.5 diesels. It really kind of just sounds like a 350 that has like lung cancer. I don't really know how else to explain it. It really just does sound like an old 350, but with a little bit of whistle to it and kind of like a thicker sound because it's a diesel, obviously. But I love the sound of a 6.5. They're not really loud trucks. Mine's a 4-inch straight pipe with, I think, an 8-inch tip. and it makes enough noise where like it's enjoyable driving around, but it's not that loud when you put it side by side to other trucks. I'll put a little sound clip in for you guys as well. Next one actually isn't quite necessarily about the 6.5 itself, but rather the fact that the 6.5, since they've got such a bad reputation, they're really cheap to get. I didn't even buy this truck, I traded it for another truck, but I've seen a ton of 6.5s up, and they're not that expensive. I saw a single cab long bed and it had like 120,000 miles on it, fresh paint job, big tires. Like, it was a nice truck genuinely, and the guy wanted like $4 grand for it. And that's like a nice one. I've seen plenty of them for like 1,500 bucks, $2 grand, and they might have higher miles on them, and some rust pretty much, depending on where you live. I live in Maine, so we get a fair amount of salt. But other than that, dude, these trucks, they're not as common as you'd think. Like, I'll go on Marketplace and I'll try to look for some, and I might only find like 2 or 3 in a week, but when they do show up, they're typically really nice and like a fair amount of money, or, you know, they need some love and they're just dirt cheap. So that would be the next thing I love about 6.5s, is that the reputation kind of, I mean, the only way I can really say it is more for me. That's the only way I can view that. You know, everybody gives them a bad rep, so everybody that wants one, it's more for us. And that kind of relates with parts as well. Since the 6.5 is not really a highly demanded truck, the aftermarket world for it it's not small, because the people that do love these trucks are like die hard into these trucks, so there's a fair amount of aftermarket parts for them and everything. But buying the parts even is not expensive, which brings me, it's kind of mixed with the other thing. I'm not going to count this as one, but like, it's not a high demand truck, so the parts aren't high demand either, so everything is cheap. Like, you could do all the same work on a Duramax that you could do to this, you'd see way more results out of a Duramax. But if you put them side by side and you did all the same stuff, you would spend like $2 grand on this thing, and you'd spend like 15 grand on a Duramax. So everything's just cheap to get, cheap to work on, cheap to maintain, cheap to buy aftermarket stuff for. I also just really like the fact that these trucks are very different. Like, I used to love cat-eye trucks. My very first truck was a single cab long bed cat-eye 2500, and I loved the truck. But these days they're almost like really common. Like, everybody's buying them, the price is going up on them. Like, every guy on Instagram's got one, every guy on TikTok's got one. And I'm not saying I don't like those trucks still, but I personally like being different. Like, I don't want the same thing that everybody else has. Clearly, I drive a 96 6.5 Suburban. That might not be for everybody. I kind of didn't like Suburbans at first, but it's really growing on me, and it's extremely useful for everything I do. But I like being different. There's not a ton of 6.5s around these days, and it's usually like some 70-year-old guy that's been driving it since he bought it brand new, or it's a kid that's like trying to bring one back to life, and I love seeing that. But I can't tell you how many people have walked up to me and been like, is that a diesel? Or they'll ask me on like my Instagram or my YouTube or TikTok. They don't even know. They're like, oh, did you swap it? Like, what did you put in it? Like, what is this? And then I'll tell them about it. And like, so many people don't even know what they are, let alone that they came in these trucks. Like, I've had so many people just like stop dead in their tracks because it's a diesel Suburban that came like that from the factory. So I like the fact that it's different, and it kind of makes people think a little bit. It's just not something you see every day. I don't remember the last time I've seen a 6.5 Suburban. Really don't see them that often. So I didn't know what it was. There's like a weird bird in the woods, and I thought it was like some kind of gremlin or something trying to attack me. So that's pretty much it for this video. That kind of wraps it up. I could just go on and on. There's a ton of stuff I love about these trucks. It's just one of my favorite trucks I've ever had so far. I don't know why. It's kind of a weird thing. I think you just have to own one to understand it, because I can't really explain why I'm in love with a metal brick that barely gets up hills, but I don't know, I just am. So there is a video. of me explaining the things I don't like about the 6.5, which was hard to make because there's not a lot I don't like about them. But if you want to see that, it should be right on my page in one of the playlists that says trucks. I'll also try and clip it on the top of one of these videos. In the top right hand corner, you should see somewhere you can click on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's any questions you guys have, anything I didn't cover or I did cover and you want to hear more about, feel free to ask. And if you're not subscribed, make sure to click subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Make sure to like the video. And if you guys have Instagram or TikTok, I post a ton about the truck on there as well. My Instagram's just Right Foot Racing, like my YouTube channel. And the TikTok is just 6.5 Detroit right now. And it should be a picture of this thing trying to turn the tires. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.